of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated. I really got to bow to you now, brother. I'm sorry. He has been awarded honorary degrees from Florida Memorial University, the University of Maryland and the University College, Lemoyne-Owen College, Lane College, and South Carolina State University. Probably most important of all his accomplishments, he is married to the Reverend Jackie Hood Martin, our soror. And she is author of Fulfilled, the art and joy of balanced living, and Wedded Bliss, a 52-week devotional to balanced living. They reside in Washington, D.C. area. Without any further ado, please help me welcome Mr. Roland Martin.
All right. I wasn't worried about the mistake. I was going to fix it. That was not a problem at all. So I'm a firm believer in technology. And so what you should do right now is you should text all your folks that can't be here. They should go to my Facebook page because I'm live streaming this. So that way, the folks who can't be here, they can actually still watch it. And so we'll also share it later on all of my digital platforms. And so again, I'm all about technology, and so that's how we roll. And so I want to go ahead and get started. First of all, glad to be here. I was here for Essence and been here since Thursday, and I head out to the Bahamas. Hopefully, I can get out of here. Bishop Neil Ellis has his conference, and then I'm actually covering that conference as well. Also, want to thank the folks who have been supportive of the digital show that we launched, Roland Martin Unfiltered, after, of course, TV One decided to cancel News One Now. We launched that in September. It has been a great enterprise. We've been averaging about 8 million views a month. We stream every single day on Facebook, Periscope, and YouTube. And so we're really developing that platform. And so if you certainly want to support us, you can do so by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. We are independent. We are Black funded. And that's the most important thing, because we have to control our narrative, control our story, which is even so more important when you look at today's, the last print edition of the Chicago Defender. Been publishing since 1905. And so we've got to have the mediums that are still covering the things that matter to us. And so that's really, I think, what is vital and critically important. I also want to speak from the perspective of, and I was going back and forth what I wanted to focus on, and I settled on really three distinct, important, and powerful words, and that is maximize your power. Maximize your power. For the last several years, I have talked across this country about the power of Divine Nine organizations and how, in my estimation, we are not even using close to all of our power. Out of all of the institutions in Black America, there's no institution that is as vertically integrated as Divine Nine. Now, let me explain what that means. What I'm talking about is we have international organizations, international membership, national leadership, regional leadership, state leadership. You have grad, you have undergrad, you also have programs, and we work with folks from K through 12. And so there's no other institution that has that level of cohesion and organization than Divine Nine organizations. The Black church does not have. Some have it, but you don't have that level of organization where literally one leader can send word down and it goes down to every single chapter, every single member to follow that direction. which begs the question, why is it that we have significant numbers? Why is it that when we gather, we are amassing a significant amount of people, yet far too much of the work that we do is insulated within the organization? Now, see, I know it's tough for us to really have to deal with this, because when I gave the brotherhood speech to the Alphas 2 years ago in Baltimore, brothers were some were a little perturbed that I cut right to the point. But again, when you look at our numbers, when you look at how we come together, not only for national conventions, but for regional, but for state, for chapters, that we have to ask ourselves, what are we doing with our power? How are we maximizing and utilizing our power? How are we challenging others who are not members of our organizations? How are we challenging other Black organizations? But how are we challenging those folks on public policy? How are we challenging them on economics? And so we really have to, I think, reassess what it is we are about in the 21st century. Because, see, there are a lot of people who say things and they talk about, oh, alphas and deltas and AKs and sigmas and kappas. We don't know what y'all do. And if we really, it's a lot of us get really upset by that. We get caught in our feelings. But I'm telling you right now, as somebody who covers the news on a daily basis, the reality is we're real good at telling our story to each other. But that means nothing talking to folks in the room if you're not talking to the folks who are not in the room. And when I say maximize our power, I think a few years ago when a 14-year-old girl was body slammed by a police officer in McKinney, Texas. And I challenged a national organization for women to step out there. But then I challenged black sororities. And people got mad at me like, well, why are you calling out black sororities? I said, because that could be a potential sorority member. But if I said she could have deltas or AKAs or zetas or sigma gamma rhos in her family, I said, but she also could have alphas and kappas and omegas and iotas and sigmas in her family. I said, and even if she didn't, she still is a young black girl. I think about the young black girl in South Carolina who was forcibly ripped out of the desk. And I had to ask the question, what is taking our leadership so long to say something? That's a young black girl. And I'm saying that because I think we have become so risk averse. And we're so concerned, well, is it going to impact our 501c3 status? Who are we somehow going to upset? When the real question is, are we there for black America when black America needs us to be there? And so we've got to really, I think, look at ourselves in a very critical way, in a fair way, and remove the emotion and remove our feelings and say, can we be doing far more than what we're doing right now? I'm Vice President Digital for the National Association of Black Journalists. And we called out CNN and the CEO, Jeff Zucker, for the lack of black folks in executive positions. No black senior producers, no black vice presidents, no black senior vice presidents, no black executive vice presidents, no black direct reports. And we made it clear we're not satisfied having some black folks on the air. We want to have some black folks off the air. And so we then asked other folks as well to step up, to join with us. And the NAACP stepped up. And then we also had the National Urban League involved in those conversations, other organizations as well. And so I asked General President Ward, Alphas responded in 24 hours. Then I asked the Deltas as well. The Deltas sent out a letter standing in support of us. So did the Congressional Black Caucus. Reached out to AKAs and they didn't. Kappas didn't. Omegas did. And I said, well, wait a minute. How hard is it to send out a letter saying we stand with the National Association of Black Journalists demanding more black folks get hired? It's a letter. Now, if we can't send out letters, well, what the hell are we here for? And see, I'm laying this out because what we are seeing is we have massive numbers. And what are we actually doing with those numbers? Let's take a few years ago in Ohio. And so in Ohio, 2011, they passed an onerous voter suppression law. And the residents there in Ohio, they said that, well, we're going to challenge this. So they needed to get 300,000 signatures to get it put on the ballot in 2012. So September 2011, I'm hosting a panel at Congressional Black Caucus, the annual Panhellenic panel put on by Congresswoman Marcia Fudge, a former international president. And it was quite interesting because I asked, all the 9 presidents were there, and I asked the question, talked about Ohio and how many of them were aware of this and how they were utilizing the chapters in Ohio to get the signatures. Everybody was quiet. Like nobody said nothing. So look over to Congresswoman Marcia Fudge, and she's telling me to move on. And I'm like, nope. We're going to stay right here. And so I started pressing them. And then several members, I remember the Omega president said, well, Roland, we really need folks like you to get us up on these issues. I said, well, first of all, you got Omegas who are members of the Congressional Black Caucus. How are you not interfacing with them to be kept up on these issues? Then my girl Cheryl Underwood, who then was Zeta president, she said, well, part of the problem is we doing some stuff, but then we don't get a chance to talk about it on black media, like on the Tom Joyner Morning Show. I had my segment on Tom Joyner, still do. And I then said to, I don't know why Cheryl went there. I said, Cheryl, I love you. I said, but out of the 9 presidents here, how many of y'all have ever sent me an email asking to come on my segment? I said, please take y'all time. And see, that was in 2011. I had been there 3 years. I said in 3 years, I had never gotten any correspondence from any national president of a panhellenic organization saying, can we come on the air to talk about some of the issues that we are doing? I said, this is a black show targeting black people. And then I said, never got an email. Then the room got real quiet again. And so then, of course, your then president, President Cynthia, she said, well, we're gonna bring this up tomorrow in our Panhandle meeting. So here's what's interesting. The next day, at a Panhandle meeting, and they actually tabulated how the Divine Nine organizations, they had 120 chapters in Ohio alone. That means that they needed 300,000 signatures to get this ballot initiative on the 2012 ballot. That means that if each chapter of the Divine Nine had committed to getting 1,000 signatures, the Divine Nine alone could have generated 1/3 of all signatures needed. That's infrastructure untapped. And right now, and I'll challenge the devils in Ohio, right now, State Representative Alicia Reese is trying to get a ballot initiative to guarantee the right to vote in the state constitution. That way, we're not trying to file lawsuits every election, trying to go to court, trying to fight the stuff, because if it's put in the Constitution, it's guaranteed. She has 30 people. They've already got about 100,000 signatures, and she's been killing herself trying to recruit more people. And it was a year ago she hit me and she said that the AKAs took it upon themselves to say this is going to be our state imperative for every chapter to do it. And I said, Alicia, where's everybody else? This is a black woman trying to put the right to vote in the Ohio state constitution, and many of us are silent. Now I'm saying all of this because what I'm talking about ain't got nothing to do with colors. Has nothing to do with letters. Has nothing to do with who's Greek and who isn't. But what it has to do is, how are we taking this power and our numbers and putting this thing into action? Let me just paint a picture again for you when I talk about numbers. In order to qualify for a New York Times bestseller list, you got to sell 30,000 copies of a book. How many Deltas are there in the country? What's the number? 400,000. Imagine if Delta Sigma Theta alone says, as a national organization, we are going to encourage our members to buy the book of one black author every single month. Alone, you could have 12 black bestseller authors immediately without the other 8 organizations. Imagine if we talk about the power of music and use our infrastructure to say, you know what, we're going to support this conscious artist and tell folks we need you to buy their music. That's the press of a button. And so what I want us to understand and to leave it with is this understanding of how we can use our power and maximize our power to be able to create change. How many of y'all have mentoring programs in your cities? Okay, how many folks in the program? Just give me a number. How many kids in the program? What? Yeah, 50. Just shout the number out. Well, who else? 30. What else? 600. What else? 20. What else? So 30, 20, 600. Out 25. I was in Tampa at the Alpha, speaking in the Alpha grad chapter for the mentoring program. And literally during the middle of my speech, I said, you know what, y'all, I mean, on disrespect. I said, I'm about tired of these mentoring programs. They were like, oh my God, what is he doing? This gala benefits the mentoring program. I said, I'm tired of them because we're not actually maximizing our numbers. They look at me like I was crazy, and I say to give perfect examples. In Detroit, a group of Deltas opened a charter school. Now, look, I don't waste my time getting to the whole charter, non-charter, because to me it's stupid. I believe in education. Whatever gets our kids educated, I'm down with. But do the numbers. Imagine if there were 100 Delta academies across America. Charter schools that you control. Imagine that if you had 100 schools and you're averaging 500 kids in those programs. That means that on an annual basis, 8 to 10 hours a day, we are shaping and forming the minds of 50,000 kids every day for a minimum of 9 months. That's what I mean by maximizing our power. Thinking far larger than how we're thinking now and saying, wait a minute, that's a mentoring program is nice, but if we took over a school and then the elementary school was a success and then flipped it to a middle school and then flipped it to a high school. Now you're talking about being in control of our kids' education from K all the way through 12. Now you're talking about completely changing the paradigm using the power that's in our very hands. That, to me, is where we stand right now. The challenge for all of us is what are we going to do moving forward? Not just when it comes to voting, but also when it comes to tapping our power in other ways. Final point I make with this is how are you using our power on local levels? Oh, Deltas flooded the U.S. Capitol when they held up the nomination of Loretta Lynch. But ask yourself this question. How have we mobilized membership to go down to the local school board? How have we mobilized membership to go to the county board and to the city council? Can you imagine what it would look like if all of a sudden 1 or 2 or 300 women in red and white walked into a school board meeting? It would scare the hell out of the entire school board. What do you think would happen when there's a city bill or a county bill and all of a sudden you said, we're not going to show up just for the Delta days on the state capitol. No. We're going to assign 50 people. Y'all going to take January and y'all going to take February and y'all going to take March and April. And every single month, I guarantee you the next time every school board member saw somebody wearing red and white, they would probably get scared like, oh, Lord, I hope they don't come up to me in this restaurant and say something. Because we will have created in their mind that we're going to show up on your doorstep every single month to make sure these things happen. I'm talking about us trying to maximize our power. If we are able to do this, we literally can change Black America. We walked around on our college campuses talking about who runs the yard. Well, who is running our communities? Who is actually doing that? Are we creating in our own, on a national level, a regional level, a state level, a local level, are we creating investment clubs where our folks are pooling our resources together, investing that money, and then begin to say, okay, we might have $200 or $300 or $500,000 invested. Now we can fund our own businesses. Now we're not asking somebody else. See, the reason I know it works because we did it in my chapter, Powell Macron, Texas A&M. Graduate Brothers, we created an investment club. The reason I was able to buy my first home was because of the investment club. That very home is the home my parents live in now with my sister. I've got 3 generations living in that very house that's now paid off. Because we decided to create an investment club, and we had some 20 brothers who were in it, and we looked up after a couple of years and had more than $300,000 invested because we understood that it's about capital and being able to finance our own future. That's how we took our membership and began to work together and not just as individuals. When you leave this convention, you should ask yourself, am I and are we fully maximizing our power? And if you say, we're doing some great stuff, that's nice. What more can be done? And then if you say a year from now, man, we did this, you should then say, what more can we do? And what more can we do? And I dare say Black America should absolutely feel the presence of Delta women in every single state, every single city, every single neighborhood. And when we join Deltas with AKAs, with Zetas and Sigma Gamma Rho and Alphas and Omegas and Kappas and Sigmas and Iotas, then when somebody has the nerve to say what a Black Greek's doing, we can point to a list of things and then say, now what? The challenge for us is to do it. The question is, are we prepared to do the work? Thanks a bunch and God bless.
You want to check out Roland Martin Unfiltered? YouTube.com/Roland S. Martin. And subscribe to our YouTube channel. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real. It's Roland Martin Unfiltered. See that name right there? Roland Martin Unfiltered. Like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. That's YouTube.com/Roland S. Martin. And don't forget to turn on your notifications so when we go live, you'll know it.
Hey everybody, this is your man Fred Hammond, and you're watching Roland Martin, my man, Unfiltered.
Hi, this is Essence Atkins, and you're watching Roland Martin Unfiltered.
Hey yo, peace world, what's going on? It's the Love King of R&B, Raheem Devon, and you're watching Roland Martin Unfiltered.
Hi, my name is Brescia Webb, and you're watching Roland Martin Unfiltered. Ow. Well, I like a nice filter usually, but we can be unfiltered.
What's going on? This is Tobias Trevelyan. And if you're ready, you are listening to and you are watching Roland Martin Unfiltered.
What's up? I'm Lance Gross, and you're watching Roland Martin Unfiltered.
Hi, this is Cheryl Lee Ralph, and you are watching Roland Martin Unfiltered. I mean, could it be any other way? Really? It's Roland Martin.
You want to support Roland Martin Unfiltered? Be sure to join our Bring the Funk fan club. Every dollar that you give to us supports our daily digital show. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real. As Roland Martin Unfiltered. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered daily digital show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Our goal is to get 20,000 of our fans contributing $50 each for the whole year. You can make this possible. RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Hey fam, want to check out Roland Martin Unfiltered, the blackest show on all of digital, cable, and broadcast. Check out our audio podcast. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real. It's Roland Martin Unfiltered. Press play.